Coming up tonight on YCN News, New Hampshire prepares to add to the number of hospitals that will accept health insurance under the state's exchange under the Affordable Care Act. River Valley Community College in Claremont hosts a summer science boot camp for young students. And a $4,000 piccolo goes missing from the Kinhaven Music School in Weston, Vermont. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Christmas is 6 months from today, and when you think of that December date, you know a new year is just around the corner. That new year, 2015, will see in New Hampshire the addition of hospitals that will accept health insurance plans bought under the state's exchange as part of the Affordable Care Act. Claremont's Valley Regional Hospital is one. Cottage Hospital in Woodsville is another. Will Alice Peck Day Hospital in Lebanon become part of the New Hampshire Marketplace, the official name of the state exchange? That remains to be seen, but New Hampshire Insurance Commissioner Roger Savini is optimistic. Recently, he noted in a prepared statement that in 2015, New Hampshire residents will have a variety of networks and plan designs to choose from. About 38,000 New Hampshire residents enrolled for medical coverage under the nation's new healthcare law. Enrollment for 2015, with more plans and insurers to choose from pending final state insurance department approval, begins November 15th. Meanwhile, another holiday is just a week from Friday, July 4th, with its annual traditions of fireworks. New Hampshire State Fire Marshal Jim Degnan and President of the New Hampshire Association of Fire Chiefs Dave Parenti remind viewers that fireworks can be fun but dangerous too. Fireworks are explosive devices and are unpredictable, says Degnan. A few seconds of pleasure to family, friends, and especially children can bring a lifetime of pain and injury if the firework doesn't go off as planned. Even the innocent-seeming sparkler burns at a temperature of 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Chief Parenti says compared that to the heat of the temperature water boils at, 212 degrees, and how hot it must be to melt glass, 900 degrees. As tempting as it may be, don't let children run with a lit sparkler. Purchase of fireworks by consumers is legal in New Hampshire. Even so, check with your local fire department to make sure that fireworks are permitted in your community. Degnan and Parenti remind us that you must be 21 or older to purchase permissible fireworks. You must be in a community that allows the use of permissible fireworks. You must be on your own private property or have written permission of the property owner. Have water of a fire extinguisher nearby and know how to use it if a firework explodes. Professionals trained in safe firework displays are the best people to conduct a colored night sky, lighting by firecrackers. As the bill that will allow U.S. veterans to seek private health care outside the VA medical system moves forward, U.S. Senator and Democrat Jeanne Shaheen wants continued oversight of all VA hospitals by its new leader. Shaheen called on Acting Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs, Sloan Gibson, to establish ongoing and random audits of these healthcare centers. The call follows a report that officials at the Phoenix VA Medical Center allegedly altered medical records to hide the news that some veterans waited so long for care they died. The report led to the regretful resignation by former VA Secretary Eric Shinseki. Meanwhile, the bill approved in Congress and known by its bipartisan sponsors' names, Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Republican Senator of Arizona John McCain, will allow vets to seek medical care outside of the VA if the vet has to wait longer than 30 days for an appointment, and if the nearest VA center is greater than 40 miles from where a vet lives. There's nothing quite like the quiet presence of a pet to brighten your spirits, no matter how your day went. No pet at home? No problem. Let's take a look at some loving animals waiting to be brought home by you.
Welcome to YCN's Pet of the Week, brought to you by Akili Agway, with 6 locations including Walpole, New Hampshire, and Healthwise Pet Food. Nutrition first for the love of your pet. Abby is an attractive female with white stripes. She's a stray and around 4 years old. When potential adopters stop in, Abby acts very friendly, like she's trying hard to sell herself. But Abby is still waiting for a place of her own. She has catitude, for those that don't need a lap cat but have room in their home for an independent girl that wants attention and love on her terms. Her favorite thing is getting a drink from the faucet. Harriet was picked up by the police in a busy road. Hopefully that was her last ride in a police car. She's young, slightly less than 1-year-old, and sweet. Harriet just transitioned into a community room and is adjusting to her current roommates. June is Adopt a Shelter Cat Month. Stop in and see if you could find a new friend. For the month of June, we're taking $25 off our normal adoption fee. Call River Valley Animal Protection League in Charlestown, 826-3061.
Undecided? Keep this in mind. Medical studies show that blood pressure rates drop when a person has a pet to take care of, when a person smiles at the wag of a tail or sound of a gentle purr at the start and end of a day. Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Here's a boot camp just right for budding young scientists. Summer Science Boot Camp is for students in grades 5 through 8. River Valley Community College in Claremont will host the week-long program from July 7th through 11th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Taking a look at the natural world around us can inform and entertain. The camp will be a hands-on study of biology in the field and under the microscope. Topics include microbiology, plant biology, the solar system, human body systems, and animal skulls, bones, and footprints. Space is limited and registration closes Friday. To learn more, contact Dr. Bonnie Akerman by email at bakerman@ccsnh.edu or call 603-542-7744 extension 5504. In Vermont news, a program and place for people who want to stay sober after earlier drug addictions may have a new lease on life in southern Vermont. The Brattleboro Reformer reports Turning Point of Windham County will have a spruced-up downtown location. Federal grants will help in the renovation of an Elm Street building to the tune of nearly $163,000. The guaranteed loan will come through the Brattleboro Savings and Loan, a loan that will cover about 90% of the cost to fix the building, the Reformer reports. Other U.S. government grants will help, grants that also will go toward other rural Vermont projects. Also benefiting from grants through the USDA Rural Vermont and New Hampshire program is the town of Chester's Whiting Library. Program Grant Director Ted Brady says a $41,900 grant and a $57,900 loan will help repair and renovate the library. Last weekend, one of the best vibraphonists in the world visited our area. Percussionist and composer Arthur Lipner performed at the Heartland Jazz Fest. Our reporter caught up with him in between performances.
I've been a musician since I was a kid. I started playing piano at age 5.5, and I've played piano since then. I also started playing mallet and percussion when I was in my early teens. The music is all I've ever done, except for getting a bachelor's degree in biology and half a master's in nutrition. But I travel and play places. I was in Iceland and Turkey a few weeks ago, and going to Brazil in 13 days. So this is my work, traveling and meeting people and sharing my music. There are connections to this particular festival with Peter Concilio, one of the organizers. Peter was a high school teacher of mine, and we've kept in touch over the years, and I've talked in the past couple of years about trying to have me come up to do the festival, but my schedule's been conflicting. So this is a great opportunity to finally come and meet the people here and get a chance to play and experience what's going on. Well, what's going on, I perceive the first thing is a tremendous quality of life with very nice, open, warm people. That's what I've experienced thus far. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Arthur is my former high school student. He is considered one of the best vibes players in the world. We showed his film last night, the first film by a jazz musician about his journey through Mexico and Norway and Ghana, studying the creation of the marimba.
Has to mean more to me than anybody else so that I can continue to do what I do.
After school, your dad came to see me. He said, "My son is going to be a scientist, and I don't want you to encourage him any further in his music."
I've thought many times, why don't I play instruments that people know what they are? I never come up with anything that can mean enough to make me try and redirect my passion. Mother Nature gives you the wood
Exactly, yeah.
to make the music with.
Exactly.
The film is called Talking Sticks, and it's about creativity and cultural exchange and communication. I'm the journey person. My instruments are the vehicle, the vibraphone and marimba, of visiting Ghana, Mexico, Brazil, and Norway, and the States, and just exploring the role of music and these instruments and how they've affected people's lives, both the professionals who we interviewed and getting a sense of their role in different cultures. So it's really quite an experience. I never intended to be the focus of a film. It was not my idea, it was not my doing, and it's a really treat that I was able to contribute in the way that I did to Talking Sticks. The best way to find out about the film is probably to go to the website and view the trailer. And the website is talkingsticksfilm.com.
Here came Milt. He came to prominence in the early 50s.
And my goal was to give it prominence, to give it respect.
Talks about the good gentlemen Brahms, Handel, Mozart, and Scarlatti, and how they lavished measures of light upon us, telling us over and over that there is a realm above this planet of silent compromise.
And your dad came over and he said, "Do you remember the day that I told you not to encourage my son in music? I was wrong."
Please take a look at the trailer of his film at talkingsticksfilm.com. But better yet, track down a screening of the movie and learn even more about this incredible musician. On another musical note, but one looking for a better outcome, we bring you this next story. A piccolo valued at nearly $4,000 is missing from a Vermont music school, and state police are asking for help in locating it. A piccolo is a half-sized flute. This woodwind instrument was stolen from its case from the library of the Kinhaven Music School in Weston, Vermont, sometime between the night of June 18th and the morning of June 19th, police report. The music school is located at 354 Lawrence Hill Road. The instrument belongs to 62-year-old Peter Schulz of Exeter, New Hampshire. Anyone with information about the missing piccolo is asked to contact Trooper Nicholas Arlington at the Rockingham State Barracks. The number is 802-875-2112. Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we have a 100% chance of precipitation with thunderstorms. Heavy rain and gusts of wind are possible, with rainfall producing up to 1 to 2 inches. Lows will be around 67 degrees with south winds around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow we'll have a 60% chance of showers and storms expected before 3 p.m. Skies will be cloudy and winds will range between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Temperatures will reach up to 78 degrees. Thursday night will be mostly cloudy with calm winds and lows in the upper 50s. Friday, the sky should clear up to be mostly sunny with highs in the 80s and winds around 5 miles per hour. Friday night will be clear with a low of 55 degrees. As you can see on our northeast map, we have some storms brushing by us. The storms should last into Thursday afternoon. As we expand to our national view, you can see that we have clear skies once these storms pass. Clear skies should last until at least next Monday. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow in New Hampshire, the Lebanon Farmers Market will begin at 4 p.m. In Hanover at 5 p.m. on the Dartmouth Green, there will be a performance. In Vermont, the Village Green in Queechee will host a country performance by the Bretts at 6:30 p.m. Thursday night. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And And now turning to sports, we have a very special story today involving a local track runner, Jacob Ellis. Aaron McClory has more.
From Brattleboro Union High School to Bowdoin College, Jacob Ellis of Brattleboro, Vermont is undeniably a track and field star. Jacob, a rising junior at Bowdoin, grew up in Brattleboro and has been competitively running since 4th grade. In high school, Jacob won 7 state titles. In addition, he holds 5 school records, 2 of which are state records.
Got the school records in the 400, 800, 1500, 4x800, and sprint medley relay. And I have the state records in the 800 and the 1500.
When it came time to look at colleges, Jacob molded his search, knowing he wanted to keep running track and was contemplating the idea of continuing cross country as well. He focused his search on 3 different schools.
Mostly looked at Williams College in Massachusetts and Bowdoin College in Maine, and Bowdoin is where I ended up. I also looked a little bit at UVM, looking at the D1 idea, and I decided that I wanted to do a good mix of academics and athletics, and I was afraid that if I went to a D1 program, one, that I would end up spending too much time on athletics, and 2, that if I decided not to do athletics, it would be harder to no longer be part of the team. And so I thought that Division III was where I wanted to go.
Jacob's transition to Bowdoin College began smoothly, but quickly took a turn when he blew out his Achilles in October, forcing him to sit out until January.
I think part of it, that was a lingering injury from high school that had manifested itself in a way I didn't expect. But it was also the fact that I was running a lot more than I ever had before. And I think coming in with really high expectations, having competed really well in high school, just sort of thinking I would do the same in college. And so I came in, I think I put too much pressure on myself, ran too many miles, ignored little aches and pains that I shouldn't have.
Aside from his physical transition, it was a mental transition for Jacob, going from being a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond.
It's a little well-known fact in New England track in high school that Vermont is definitely the smallest pond, and so I was able to, as one of the best runners in Vermont, didn't necessarily make me one of the best, even just in all of New England. But it's really easy to forget that when you're competing all year against Vermont, especially southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire. There's a lot of good runners, but the depth just isn't there as much as it is in other states. And so I built up a lot of confidence over my 4 years of high school, and just sort of expected to be at that top level. And so when I went to college, I had to adjust my standards a little bit, but I also I had the confidence that I was able to compete at whatever level I wanted to, because in high school I had always been able to compete at whatever level I wanted to if I put the work in.
At the end of last July, injury struck again. A strained hip flexor followed by bone bruising on the bottom of his foot forced him into months of physical therapy until he was finally able to compete again in February. The next month, Jacob won the Open New England Indoor Championships in the 800 with a school record 150.106. He followed this performance by winning the 800 at the Open New England Outdoor Championships.
It's Open New England means that it's all 3 divisions. Usually in Division 3 you race against Division 3. This is one of the only times we get to race against Division 1 and Division 2 runners. So it's a very high level of competition, and it's a lot of fun to get out there and race those D1 guys. And during the indoor season I won the Open New Englands in the indoor, and I was able to bounce back and do the same during outdoor. So I won the Open New England title there with personal best. It was 149.66 for the 800, and that qualified me for nationals. Was a Bowdoin school record.
These 2 titles made him the first Bowdoin athlete to win consecutive All-New England titles since 1936. At indoor and outdoor nationals, Jacob placed 5th and 3rd respectively in the 800. After both performances, he was named All-American. Participating in a sport at the college level consumes much of Jacob's time and has shaped his college experience in a positive way. He has some advice for athletes considering playing a sport in college.
I think if it's something that you really want to do, it can be a really fun, rewarding experience. You get to meet a lot of cool new people. That said, it takes up a lot of time in your day. You'd want to make sure it's something that you really want to do, especially if it's going to be part of your college search. But if it's something that you really want to do, I would say go for it.
Despite battling multiple injuries, Jacob Ellis, a Brattleboro native, has won numerous track and field titles, proving he's one of the best runners at the college level. With YCN Sports, I'm Erin McClory.